All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. I am trying this a little differently tonight. Just because I have been having some issues with streaming on YouTube and it actually saving the video. So I appear a little dark on my computer on YouTube. Hopefully, you all can see me okay. But I am Kathy Watson. I hope all is well. This is my parent hour, my parent power hour. And forgive me, it was scheduled for earlier in the week. And I just had some health issues come up and I just couldn't do it. So I'm showing up when I could, and I appreciate your understanding of that. Hello, everybody on Whatnot as well. You all welcome in, welcome in. My people on YouTube, if you comment tonight, I should be able to see your comments. So thank you so much for that. Let me see if there we go. That may be a little bit better. All right. So I'm just going to go get into it because I have a meeting this evening. So kind of along these same lines. But tonight I want to talk about the Parent Power Hour and us creating distance for digital balance. Last week, if you all caught it, and I don't see it on YouTube, so I'm not sure why I didn't capture and save on YouTube, but I do know that last week we talked about social media and how we as parents can do things to protect our children from social media or the damages of social media. And we kind of got into, the different types of apps to look for, the different types of signs to look for when there were issues with our kiddos. But tonight I want to take that a step further and I want to talk about creating a digital balance. This is great advice for children. This is great advice for students. This is great advice for us as parents. This is great advice for those of us who are employees, employers, or entrepreneurs. It can be used all the way around, okay? So first of all, let's just talk about the elephant in the room. We are all addicted to our cell phones. They are in our hands most of the time, whether we are sitting around in the living room, whether we are in many cases driving, whether we are sitting at the table eating dinner with our family, sitting in a movie theater, it doesn't matter. Our phones are close. It's like a magnetic pull that we just cannot get away from. So our relationship with technology isn't just about the screen time, it's about space. Okay? It's about space. It's about the physical space and it's about the psychological space. Okay? And learning how to create that space is key for us to protect our focus, our relationships, and our emotional well being. All right. Remember that, particularly when we're looking at Facebook and Instagram or TikTok or whatnot, that's the highlight reel. That's not real life. That's the highlight reel. You know, you either see all the wonderful things that are going on or you see all the drama, but you never see the full picture. Okay. And sometimes we can get very comfortable speaking things digitally that we would never say to someone's face. Okay. So it also lessens boundaries for some of us that we have to reestablish. Okay. And not just for our kiddos, but for us too. I know that if I watch too much of the news and there's a lot of chaos going on, it makes me very anxious, very, very anxious. So I am very intentional about what I will and won't listen to on the news. It's not going to consume my time. I want to be aware of what's happening, but I'm not going to be consumed with what's happening. So let's talk about physical and psychological distancing for a second. So, of course, when we think about physical distancing, we think about putting actual physical space between us and our devices. For instance, one recommendation is when you're at the dinner table or it's designated as family time or a date night, you leave your phone where you can't even get to it. Okay. It could be that if you're at home, your phone is in another room. It could be that if you're in the same room, your phone is in a bowl away from you. So you're not even thinking about picking up your phone. You're creating that space psychologically because physically your phone is far away from you. Okay. Another way to distance ourselves, both physically and psychologically, from our devices is setting those boundaries of tech free times, tech free zones. Um, if you're in the kitchen, that can be a tech free zone. No devices allowed. When you're in your bedroom or you're getting ready for bed, that's a tech free time. No devices allowed. When you have your homework space set up for kiddos, no devices allowed unless it's something that is necessary for them to use to have an assignment done. A lot of times that is necessary, but there are ways to monitor that as well. Now, psychological distancing is more about reducing that mental attachment that we have to have our phones, we have to have our devices, or we need to check our email, we need to check our text, we need to respond, or we need to scroll. It, for some reason, gets our adrenaline running, but not quite in the most positive way when it's all consuming. So, one way to really ask yourself if it's appropriate or really necessary for you to have a device right now is to ask yourself very honestly, do I need to engage right now or am I just reacting? Okay. Constantly being on alert can set us in a very different frame of mind. It sets us in a fight or flight mode a lot of the times. And we'll talk about that a little bit as well. So, why does it matter? When we stay too close, physically and mentally, to our phones, a few things happen. Our attention gets fragmented. How many times have we been on our phones having a conversation and we never heard what the other person was saying? And we say, I'm sorry, what'd you say? How many times has that happened? And it's because we're switching rapidly from one distraction to the other. We're having two totally different conversations, two totally different levels of importance, two totally different styles of communication at once. And our brain does not function well like that. Of course, we know how to multitask, but the research also says when we're multitasking, we're doing nothing well. We can still get it done, but we're not doing anything well. Another thing about why it matters is that our stress levels tend to rise. They're constant alerts that keep our bodies in low level tension. Okay? Our relationships suffer. It can be with our spouse, it can be with our significant other, it can be with our friends, it can be with our children. Okay? It really, really causes our relationship to suffer. And it distances you from being able to attach to the people that you know, trust, and love. For kids, especially, our habits set the tone. If they see us on our phones constantly, they're going to be on their phones constantly. They're little sponges. You know, a lot of times we say, do as I say, not as I do, but inherently, they're designed to do what they see us doing. That's just the reality of it. Okay. Modeling boundaries helps them learn it's okay to take breaks from technology. And it's also a wonderful idea to take breaks from technology. Now let's move into some strategies. Let's get to the meat of it all. Here's one strategy. It's called the dock and drop rule. So when you get home, dock your phone or set it on a prompt and just adjust to life. Set a timer. I'm not going to touch my phone. I'm not going to touch my device. I'm going to unwind. I'm going to read for a while. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to do something without my device for 30 minutes, even. Okay. Allow that disconnection to have. Allow days when you go without your phone, or allow days when you go without social media. Of course, as a parent, I will always have my phone close because if my children are trying to get in contact with me, although they're adults, I want to be available. But I can set times where I won't screen time, I won't have screen time, or I won't be on social media, things like that. The nightstand swap. Mel Robbins talks about this a lot, and so does Angela Duckworth. Put an alarm clock on your nightstand instead of your cell phone. So when you go to sleep, I'm not saying this, I don't agree with this wholly if you're a parent and you have children away from home. But if you're in the position and if you feel comfortable outside of those factors, when you go to sleep, leave your phone in another room. A lot of us no longer have home phones. I actually still do because I use it for a fax machine that no one ever calls or uses. But anyway, that's beside the point. But unless you have an alternate way of someone reaching you in an emergency, particularly if you have children or if you're a caregiver or something may be going on like that, it may be unrealistic, but it may be realistic to not have it in your arm's reach. Have your ringer on. So if someone calls you and it's unexpected, you can still hear it, be alert, wake up, and address what they need. But it's not beside you, so it's not creating that blue space and that brain activity that tends to cause us to sleep, to not have REM sleep. There's something called Silent Sundays or whatever. You just pick a day of the week and you just silence all of your nonsensical notifications. Anything that isn't of urgent concern to you, you just silence them. And that's your way of decompressing. All right. Try deleting an app that you know sucks you in. Start slowly. If you're on TikTok all day, don't delete TikTok immediately. Try something that you're not on quite so much and start utilizing these strategies. And then eventually find the tools that you only want to use and then set some boundaries with them. Okay. And set mindful check-ins. Before picking up your phone, ask yourself, what am I looking for right now? Can it wait? Let's talk about modeling for kids. Where is my other paper? Hold on just 1 second. I think I may have left it on the printer. Oh no, that's with Angela Duckworth section. Just a second. Let's talk about modeling for kids. Let me get this together. I printed out this stuff for work and I wanted to share it with you. All right. Of course, we already said that kids mirror what they see. So if they watch us pause before checking a message, whenever we hear that chime, we're like, look, gotta check it, gotta check it. If they see us pause and it not be of an immediate concern to us, they'll get the message that I matter. My mom hasn't stopped her conversation with me to go check a message. Her focus is on me. Be present with your children. Be present with your significant other. Be present with your colleagues, okay? People love to feel like they are the most important person in the world at that time. Make them feel like that. Make them feel like that. There's a store that I used to go to. It's a locally owned health food store. And the owner of the store was very intentional that if he was talking to someone at the counter, no matter who walked in, no matter who walked up, no matter how long it took, his attention was tunnel visioned on that one person. Some people might say, well, that's kind of rude. People walk in and he doesn't say welcome in or hello or thanks for coming or whatever. His attention is totally focused on the person in front of him. And so when it's your time to be in front of him, he's going to treat you the same way. And you start to appreciate that. Okay. That is called being present. That is called having your attention span controlled. Okay. We all have to practice getting better at that. I'm so quick to stop one thing and start another. This is grabbing my attention, or there's a fire over here. There's really not. Can the email wait 5 minutes? It can. Can the response to the text wait 4 minutes? It can. Okay. Like I said, unless you're a parent and my children have a specific chime that comes in on my phone or a specific ringtone, then I may check to make sure they're okay. But if not, I'm trying to focus, and this is a work in progress, but I'm trying to focus on what I'm doing. Try narrating your choices. Tell your children, I'm going to put my phone down on the counter right now so we can sit on the couch and we can just talk. Let them know it's all about them. Do the same thing with your spouse or a girlfriend. Let them know that that device is just a tool. It's not a tether. Okay. Now, think about one way that you can create some space, both physically and psychologically, this week. All right. Just think about that when it comes to your colleagues, your spouse, your significant other, your kiddos. Just try it. Try making the intentional space to physically and psychologically distance yourself. Now, I also want to share, and we'll wrap up with this. Dr. Angela Duckworth is the author of a book called Grit. That's how I actually became engaged with her. And I saw her do a TED Talk on grit, and I thought it was absolutely just wonderful. It was beyond amazing. So I'm going to end this with some strategies and some research that she has done on the psychological and physical distancing ourselves when it comes to our devices. Her research shows that physical distance from cell phones shows that simply seeing a phone can lower cognitive performance, and keeping phones physically further leads to better grades and test scores. Okay, now she's particularly talking about students right now, but just think about that. Seeing a phone can simply lower cognitive or brain performance, and keeping that phone physically and further away leads to better grades and test scores. Her work emphasizes situation modification or changing your environment to make self-control easier rather than relying on willpower alone. How many times do we talk about willpower? Sometimes it's just not there, okay? Sometimes we need a little help along the way, and that's fine. Some of the key findings to Dr. Duckworth's research was that, of course, I said seeing the phone impacts cognitive function. The physical distance improves performance. Students who keep their phones farther away while studying tend to have higher grade point averages. Okay, isn't that interesting? Very, very interesting. Willpower is not enough. This is point 3. The research suggests that relying on willpower to resist your phone is less effective than changing your environment. Again, the physical distancing will lead to the psychological distancing. And number 4 is situation modification. The behavioral science strategy involves changing your environment to support your goals. Just like if we were on a strict diet and we said that we were going to stop eating chips and cookies between meals, most of the time we would clear our kitchen or our pantry of the chips and the cookies or the things that we were trying not to intake. Same thing with your phone or your devices, okay? So it's much better to keep it out of your space, and that helps keep your psychological space away from it as well. So, practical applications, and we're going to end with this. If you have any questions, please let me know in the chat. If there's anything you'd like to discuss for next week, please let me know in the chat. But I'll leave you with these. Practical applications are to put your devices in another room. When you need to focus deeply, physically remove your phone from the area. Number 2, practical application. Keep it out of sight. Avoid having phones on the table during meals or near you while you're driving. Okay? Make that physical distance more challenging so the psychological distancing can happen. Number 3 is don't sleep with it. Don't sleep with your phone in your bedroom. I talked about this before. If you have children or if you're a caregiver and you have to sleep with your phone in your room, don't make it easily accessible on your nightstand. Make it so that you have to get up, be awakened, and go answer the phone. That would be for the emergency. And then go elsewhere when feeling awkward. When you're feeling awkward, anxious, or bored, go take a walk, go read a book. Instead of reaching for your phone to just take that time away, find something else to do, because we now use the phone as an adult pacifier and as our children's babysitter. Okay? And we don't want to do that. I will also say this. I heard an attorney, it was actually a city attorney. I went to court with one of my sons who had a speeding ticket. And the city attorney was talking, it was another case in front of us, and he was talking about someone running the red light. And he said, once you do something and it's okay, you don't have an immediate negative result, your reflexes go down. Okay? Your reflexes go down. You start to think it's okay. It becomes very comfortable for you. For instance, when you're leaving your neighborhood, there's a stop sign at your entrance of your neighborhood or your exit of your neighborhood. How many times, particularly depending on the time of day, do we not come to a complete stop? I'm guilty. I'll be the first to admit I'm guilty. I may take a quick look both ways and kind of roll through the stop sign and keep it moving. The more I do that, the more relaxed I am doing it. The more relaxed I am doing it, the more comfortable I am doing it, the more of a habit it becomes. Then what happens one day? I don't look, or I don't take the time to look as much as I used to, and I pull out in front of a car. Or I don't judge the proximity of a car that's coming and the speed of which is coming, so I pull out and that car has to swerve or may possibly hit me or someone else to avoid hitting me. Your reflexes, they diminish when you become comfortable doing something, okay? So I hope this was helpful. Please share it with your friends and family. Join me every week. Sometimes I have to change the date and time. Bear with me. I promise I'll get it in there, and I'm trying to make sure it saves on YouTube as well, so you can always watch it if you're not available to join me live. All right? Thank you all for joining. I appreciate you. I am Kathy. Send me a DM with any questions or topics that may be of interest for you. And I am happy to try to deliver some information on them. All right. Thank you so much. And I will see y'all soon. Bye-bye.